Hey there artists, this is Miss Funk from Gatewood and Tanglin. Today I'm going to be walking you through a lesson about Surrealism. Surrealism is an artistic idea that painters and authors created in the 20th century. It began in the 1940s between World War I and World War II and still flourishes today. Surrealism influenced much of American modern art. Surrealism connects the imaginary and the realistic in unusual, thought-provoking, sometimes even magical ways. There are some techniques that surrealist artists use. One of those techniques is scale. That's changing an object's size in relation to other objects. So for example, maybe you would make a tiny elephant next to a huge mouse. Levitation is another technique, that is floating objects that don't normally float. Juxtaposition is joining separate images together in impossible combinations. So maybe you make a fish playing the trombone. Dislocation, placing an object from its usual environment to an unfamiliar one. So take that fish out of the water, put it in the desert. That's dislocation. Transformation and metamorphosis is combining or morphing objects together in an unusual way. The Spanish artist Salvador Dali is a famous surrealism artist. He was born in 1904 and died in 1989. He was 84 years old. Take a look at his mustache. His mustache is almost as famous as his paintings. This was something that he used to kind of get people to recognize him. So if you know of any influencers that maybe you follow on YouTube and they have a certain look that they always keep in all their videos, that's something that many artists and influencers do to have themselves be recognizable. So he was very recognizable by way of his mustache. The Surrealists explored the realm of dreams and the unconscious mind. They studied the work of a psychologist named Sigmund Freud. Freud believed that dreams represent our deepest desires, and by investigating our dreams, we can learn more about the unconscious mind. Salvador Dali's most famous artwork, The Persistence of Memory. You may recognize this painting from the movie Looney Tunes Back in Action. Another famous surrealist artist is René Magritte. The Belgian artist René Magritte selected many objects in and around his home for his work. They can still be viewed in his home, now a museum in Brussels. This is one of his most famous paintings. In their effort to understand the unconscious, the surrealists created imagery that joined the dream and fantasy world with the everyday, rational world. They frequently used realistic representation, that means they made things look very realistic, but placed their objects in unusual settings. Remember, that would be like dislocation. So take a look at these pictures by René Magritte. What do you find normal about them, and what do you find unusual about them? What techniques did René Magritte use in these paintings? Remember, you might see scale changes. You might see levitation. You might see juxtaposition, dislocation, or transformation. That's all we're going to look at for today. Now, the next few slides in this show are going to be talking about creating your own surrealism artwork. Now, there's a few ways that you can do this. One way of creating a surrealism artwork is on your iPad. I have also created a screencast that shows you and walks you through the steps of creating a successful surrealism artwork using the Pic Collage or Pic.edu app. Your goal is to combine realistic images in unique, strange, or imaginative ways. There's a few requirements that you need in order to make a successful surrealism work on your iPad. You need a background, so here you can see it's the grass with the mountains and the sky behind it. 2 or more images that you edit or change. Okay, so in this one we've got the elephant and we've got the butterfly wings. Use at least one surrealist technique, and please don't do any photos of classmates, and no GIFs. They don't work when you're trying to send it to your teacher. Here are a couple examples of digital surrealism collages. Take a look at what's going on in these artworks. There's lots of fun editing that you can do on the Pic.edu app. Now, if you're not going to be doing a digital collage, there's still a couple ways that you can make a surrealism artwork. I'm going to show you those here. If you want to make a surrealism collage in paper, you're going to flip through magazines or print out images that you want to use. Cut carefully around your image with your scissors. Make sure you trim tightly around the images. You don't want to see any visible background or jagged edges. So glue down your images and then draw the rest of your scene in pencil. And then finish with your choice of materials: marker, colored pencil, paint, whatever you want to use for your background. Here, Rodney chose markers. And finally, if you are not going to be doing your iPad, if you're not going to be doing a Surrealism collage, you can do a Surrealism drawing. So take a look at this one right here. If you have an idea in your head, you don't need to use your iPad or cut pictures from a magazine. You can draw exactly what your mind's eye is envisioning. So this artist here, her name was Ginger. She drew a pencil sharpener, and she has this road coming out of it, and it's kind of, she's mixed this really realistic drawing with something very imaginative, which is this road that is wrapping around and around, kind of like a roller coaster. So that's it for my slides today. Thanks for listening, and your teachers can't wait to see what you come up with.